So we got this from Mediaite.
I like this.
Stephen Miller says Trump is actively looking at suspending habeas corpus. Let's roll tape.
Hold on, there's a question back there first.
I have two quick questions. First, President Trump has talked about potentially suspending habeas corpus to take care of the illegal immigration problem. When could we see that happen, do you think?
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article 3 courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. It passed a number of laws that say that the Article 3 courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with the term temporary protected status, or TPS, right? So by statute, the courts are stripped of jurisdiction from overruling a presidential determination or a secretarial determination on TPS when the Secretary of Homeland Security makes that determination. So when Secretary Noem terminated TPS for the illegals that Biden flew into the country, when courts stepped in, they were violating explicit language that Congress had enacted, saying they have no jurisdiction. So it's not just the courts aren't just at war with the executive branch, the courts are at war, these radical rogue judges, with the legislative branch as well, too. So all of that will inform the choices the president ultimately makes, yes.
Mr. Miller.
Was that Elad speaking right there?
That's
it was. I got to play it one more time.
So have you
seen real quick?
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Sounded like Elad.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
So I just saw that on Twitter. Did you see the Lincoln Project tweet?
Yes.
Criticizing.
No, what was it?
Yeah, they were just complaining.
It's a cell phone. Oh. It's the Lincoln Project criticizing Trump for suspending habeas corpus. I mean, it's the worst cell phone in history.
That is, well, because they're hypocrites and they're stupid and they don't read.
And they don't know Lincoln.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's not unprecedented. And
I bet the community notes is Abraham Lincoln unilaterally. Oh, the timeline we live in. I hope the people watching are entertained. Yeah.
It would be good to
ultimately mix, yes.
Mr. Miller.
I do want to just say Stephen Miller is doing a fantastic job giving Americans a civics lesson. He's explaining so many great things.
Looks like he's having a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when they claimed that he was making a white supremacist hand gesture because he was straightening his jacket and he was like this?
Oh, is that back now? Is this?
No, this was the first term.
Oh,
okay. He grabbed his jacket and was pulling his jacket in like this.
He was buttoning it.
And they got a picture of his hands like this, so and they said it was a white supremacist hand gesture.
So it was like a double white
supremacist
hand gesture.
Is that an okay? Oh my God! Wait, come on. No, this is some fake nonsense from SPLC. Oops, can I spell it wrong? Is that it? Let's see if we can find that picture. There it is. There it is. We got it. Look
Ladies
at this.
and gentlemen.
Here you go. Did Stephen Miller throw a white power sign?
Throw it?
Oh my God. Look at this image.
Oh my God.
What is he doing? Why is he touching his tie like that?
Do you remember do you remember like the guy who lost his job for like throwing something out his window and he was making that sign? He was like a construction worker or an electrician or something.
Yeah.
No. What was that?
Yeah. Just a guy was like, and he wasn't a white guy, if I remember correctly, like threw like out his window like a cigarette or something, and his hand was making like an OK sign, and he like lost his job. It was back during Trump's first term, I think.
It would the entire society basically lost their mind for a few years there.
They never got their mind back.
I think that things are a little more chill now. I don't think you get fired for throwing something out a window where someone sees that they thought that you made the OK hand sign.
Yeah, but there's other kinds of insanity, like, firebombing a Tesla station, Tesla dealership.
Yeah.
Or charging station.
Yeah, California man fired over alleged white power sign says he was just cracking his knuckles.
Oh,
I hope he sued and
sue,
made.
right?
I hope he
He'll be able to
sued and
sue.
got like just an unlimited amount of money.
Man.
I hope so. But
Yeah.
I doubt it. I don't think he did.
But what about suspending habeas corpus? Yay or nay?
Yay. I'm very much for it. I want to see, well, for non-citizens, right? So if you're here legally, we don't have to put you in front of
Right.
a judge or anything.
But they still have to determine whether you're a citizen or not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you need to
you-
go in front of a judge for that.
Did you guys see there was a riot broke out in Massachusetts because
Yeah, in Worcester.
Yeah, the illegal immigrants getting arrested and the neighbors started attacking the cops.
They should
Seems
go
like
to
a
jail
pattern.
too.
Let me see if I can find that. That's a big story we probably should talk about. You know, I saw it on Reddit. What is it? Massachusetts? How do you spell Massachusetts?
Massach.
What a silly word.
I think suspending habeas corpus for non-citizens is considered due process.
literally
They're
right
getting
there.
the process that they're due, right?
Sending them home. That's
Yeah,
not
here,
bad,
check
dude.
this out. Check this out. So there's an illegal immigrant being arrested, and then people come out and start attacking the cops.
Every last one of them should be arrested.
Well, the scary thing is, at a certain point, if these are like TDA MS-13, we're getting close to treason.
They should all the cops should round them all up, and the cops will get there. They've got body cams on them. They can identify them. Round them all up. Jail.
And you know what happens after that, right?
No, what happens?
When the cops go in and arrest an entire block of residential of people.
Oh, well. I mean, look, you can't just say, all right, it's fine. We're not going to enforce the law.
I understand that, but it's not about that. The point I'm bringing up is you have entire neighborhoods aiding and abetting illegal immigration, for which the prescribed law is that is a crime. What is it? 8 USC 1324, I think it is. Let me see if I have my code right. 8 U.S. Code 1324. Is that it? Yes, it is. 8 USC 1324, aiding and abetting illegal immigration.
So, what do you think it is that has primed U.S. citizens to interfere with these types of things?
We have allowed for 3 generations non-citizens to take residence in this country and have families. And so now you have individuals who, let's say there's like normal American guy lives in a house and he's lived there for 20 years. His neighbor is old Rita, he calls her. She's been there as long as he knows. She was there before him. Illegal immigrant. The government has largely allowed them to stay and hasn't enforced against it. The neighbors, they all know old Rita. Okay, so when the cops come and say she's here illegally, we're arresting her and deporting her, the neighbors are like, what? She's my neighbor. She's lived here for decades. So they're going to fight the cops.
Yeah.
The other issue is that you create whole communities of illegal immigrants. Yeah, they're going to fight the cops because they're going to be like, we're going to stay. You can't kick us out. So sure, the cops can come in, and they did. They arrested the daughter of the woman who was being arrested, and they can start arresting people who live there. And the end result is going to be civil war.
And a lot of it is like for the cases where you're talking about people who are members of MS-13 or gangs, I think that so many Americans have been kind of just hit with endless propaganda about what illegal immigration looks like. And while there are the cases of, like you're saying, the family that's been here for 20 years, they're law-abiding, they don't do anything wrong, the people aren't taking the time to wait and see whether that's what's happening. So they're going to respond the same to them arresting somebody who could be a member of MS-13 or a gang than they are, you know, the woman down the street who hasn't broken at least any laws while in country.
There's no answer to this. I mean, if people start attacking ICE, which we're seeing now from Democratic Democratic Party members,
That's an
elected
escalation.
officials, and residential neighborhoods,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this will make a civil war start tomorrow. I'm saying that police come in and start arresting these people who rioted, and they say it was a riot, they attacked cops. The left then rallies and says Trump is sending in federal law enforcement to arrest literal neighbors of people who are trying to save themselves from being disappeared. They're going to start saying things like Trump disappeared a Maryland man. Like Hassan Piker genuinely believed he was from Maryland, said, he's from Maryland. What do you mean? Dude didn't know. They don't read the news. The narrative will then persist that Trump's SS is going around and rounding up random people. And then you're going to get Antifa emboldened, and you're going to get shootings, insurgency, chaos, which in turn will result in Trump, Insurrection Act, arrests, escalation. The left will then, what ends up happening with this stuff? The simple question to ask anybody. Why did your average Southerner fight in the Civil War? Do you know the answer? Average Southerner.
I would say slavery.
No. Why did the average Southerner fight in the Civil War?
Because they believe that
their heritage.
Yeah, because they believe that the North was invading and South and attacking.
Because their home was attacked.
Yeah.
That's it. No, there's nothing else. Some dudes on a farm with no slaves, and Union soldiers start marching through, firing guns, and they say, oh my God. Now, the powers that be wanted to uphold slavery. They wanted to put it in their constitution, but secession was a convoluted thing, largely related to the issue of slavery. But for the average Southerner, it was, they're attacking us. That's it. Only, I think, 3 to 5% of the South actually owned slaves. Most people didn't.
Yeah.
And so you're some bumpkin on a farm being shot at, and you're like, I'm at war. What's going to happen then when federal law enforcement starts arresting these people? There's going to be a guy who's going to say, I don't care about illegal immigrants. I don't care about the left. I don't care about Trump. I want to watch football. But a bullet went through my window when law enforcement came in and was shooting at these insurrectionists or whatever. These people who live in my neighborhood, I have no choice. I live here. I'm with them. It's fascinating that people don't understand, like, they don't think through the basic breakdown of how these things happen because they haven't read what the people who fought in the Civil War actually said. Like, Bill Maher's like, who's going to be fighting? There's no North and there's no South. And everyone says that. And I'm like, there wasn't back then either. The generals for the Confederacy went to West Point, and they were actually having conversations when the states were seceding with the other generals, like, what do we do? And then it was it might have been Jackson. No, it was Robert E. Lee. And he was like, I have to make a decision now for my country or my home, and I don't know what to do. And then he went home and he said, I've chosen my home. Mm-hmm. But they were all friends with each other. Mm-hmm. Or they knew each other. They went to West Point together. So people don't seem to understand, man. It's crazy. I do not see an off ramp. Like, I'm going to show, like, we literally have a video where residents are attacking cops because the cops are enforcing an arrest warrant for a deportation. And then a woman gets arrested. So where does that go? One answer is that nobody escalates. The Trump administration says, don't go and arrest anybody who was there or involved. Let them just do it. Maybe.
I mean, that. Unfortunately, I think that's probably the way that it would go because that's what Trump did.
And then the left says, we need to get violent and de-arrest these deportees like we do at the riots.
All right, if they get violent, then they.
But they did get violent. And the left has something they call a de-arrest. They wear black blocs so you can't identify them in court and then get away with the crimes. And if a cop is arresting someone, they run up, grab the person, shove the cops, and pull the person out. De-arrest, that's what they call it. If the police don't arrest these individuals who are interfering with ICE raids, the left is going to be like, they're going to show the videos to people and say, trust us, they will not arrest you for this. Mm-hmm. And then you get 100 Antifa attacking ICE agents.
No, that's true, but they can do this. The police still have other means to wrap people up, right? Like they can go to houses when there's not a mob of people around. These people have places.
And then the video is going to go viral, and the left is going to say
you can always come up. You can always come up with an escalation. But if your point is that there's going to be an escalation and that there's nothing that we can do, that's fine. But I'm telling you what the police will do. That is the point has
always been.
Well, then that's fine. But the point that I'm making is the police will continue to act. You cannot have, the police will not allow the total abolishment of all law. They're going to behave. They're going to do things that they need to do to try and enforce the law.
And this is the longstanding point I've been making for 7 years now. When we were watching left and right beat each other mercilessly in the streets, and I was looking at them calling Donald Trump a traitor, unprecedented things were happening in this country. And I said, wow, this is going to escalate. What happened? It literally did in the most psychotic of ways that you couldn't have possibly have dreamed up. The J6 riots were crazy. Charging Trump with 34 fake felonies is crazy. Arresting his lawyers, crazy. And where we are today, it's only gotten crazier. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.